I think we have everybody here. We'll go ahead and call this meeting of the USD 431 School Board to order. Roll call, everybody is present except Jesse. No changes to the agenda?
I have none, no.
Okay. I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor? 6-0. Opportunity for visitors, I don't think we have any. We have them later down the line.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, consent agenda, you guys have that in front of you. Minutes of the 6/3 regular meeting, 6/26 special meeting, the cash summary, check summary, reports, and activities account.
And I did include for the board in the cash summary report also the account cash balances. Sometimes it's important to see actually how much working money we do have available. So I just wanted everybody to have that information as well. For those accounts, the First Kansas Bank is our actual district money. Wilson State Bank is all activities money.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
And moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? Passes 6-0. Okay, old business.
No business.
No old business, okay. We will move on to 7, the reorganization resolutions and appointments. We have to do this, every year?
Yes.
Do we have any changes?
No. I did include as documents for you all as a board, the July board meeting resolutions, which we'll need to sign before you leave this evening. Recommendations for food fees, which there are no changes to our lunch service fees this year. And then the 24-25 Board of Education calendar. Typically the first Monday of the month is our meeting, with the exception of September, which Labor Day is that, and so we'll go the second Monday of the month, and then every other month will fall fine for the first Monday of the month. So then as you read down through the rest of those, no changes to any of the fees, whether those fees are lunch fees or the fees for enrollment. No changes to any of the appointments. Now that we have Jordan in place as food service director, all of that has been taken care of with the state. It's just a formality to add him as the authorized representative per the board. Taylor is the treasurer. We did that last year, but she's just now had her year anniversary. Hallelujah. And we appreciate her being here. And then establishing Wilson State Bank and First Kansas Bank as our repositories, as well as Hoisington Dispatch is still our local newspaper.
So by appointing Carissa tonight, if Trish is gone, then we don't need to do that every meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. In the event, or except for if she's gone, like last year we had to have
Yes.
Shelby step in. So
Anybody have any questions on any of those? I move to adopt the reorganization resolutions and appointments 9 through 46 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Passes 6-0. Okay, move on to item 8, new business.
So I wanted to give you information. We have been approached by Barton County JUCO. Just keeping you informed as to February 15th, we've been approached to actually host the Barton County Community College Region 8, or is it, am I in the wrong? No, Region 9 JUCO wrestling tournament. I talked to Mr. Kraft about this. We host a basketball game that Friday. We'll get help setting up after the basketball game is done. The only event that would take place that would bump this, and it would bump it if it's a high school event, there's a slim chance that we could host a regional wrestling. If we host a regional wrestling, then the college is aware that they'll have to find a different location for this. So we feel it's a good opportunity for us to partner with Barton County Community College, and they're excited about it. But in the event that we would host a regional, they would have to find a different location. So, questions about this?
Don't see any.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that in case it did come up.
We did talk about fees in our board agenda meeting. Did we talk about that? Charging them to use the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll use our normal qualifications that we do. We've made an agreement with, the league, the smaller school league around us to use our facility, so it'll be, it's about $1,000, $250, deposit so we will be charging them to use the facility, so, because they'll have full access to it for pretty much a 24-hour period of time to get that all set up and ready to go and torn down and stuff, so.
Okay. Item B, classified and certified handbooks.
So attached to the agenda, is all of the adult handbooks. With very few exceptions, changing board members. There's almost no changes to any of the handbooks. We've made some pretty major changes over the last few years. To kind of get things up to date and ready to go, just reviewing. I did go ahead and change the specific number of what we contribute to insurance to district contribution to be determined through negotiations. And then I'll update that number whenever we have negotiations settled. So currently it's 681. I crossed that out to be updated later. Just looking through these, I should have made a summary real quick of these, but there's so few. Anything that's changed is typically in bold. In the bus driver's handbook, they have some specific dollar amounts in there. Put all of those in there, subject to change through negotiations. Oh, thank you, Carrie.
Sorry.
I got the thing. So very minor changes. Basically comes down to dollars and cents for negotiations, and no changes to the substitute handbook.
Anybody have any questions? I move to adopt the certified classified bus and substitute staff handbooks as presented.
Second.
Then moved and seconded, all in favor? Passes 6-0. Okay, item C, June 2024 policy updates, first read.
So these are the first read for these policies. I won't sit here and read all of them to you. I would encourage you to at least take a look at the first couple of pages to see if there's summaries and things that might catch your eye. I will be taking a deeper dive into these over the next month to then give you a better explanation as to these. Honestly, I have not taken a look at these very closely at all. Just in quick scans, it looks like there's some changes due to state statutes changing. So I'll try to do a better job of explaining these next month, and then we'll make that final decision and talk about any other policies that might need to be modified if we need to.
Item D, SQE membership.
And I did not ever receive their membership form, so we can move on from that.
Okay, item 9, reports. A is ISTE report.
You guys see that whose name's up there, so.
They've already had that conversation. Mine's short.
Okay.
Come on. Come on. But it's like a family reunion. We just wanted to thank you for letting us go to Denver to the IST conference. That was last week. This is my 4th time going, so mine will be short and sweet. The bags that you had on your desk, those were just some thank you from us. I know it's not a lot, but it's just some of the stuff that we collected through the vendor expo, and wanted to give you guys a little something. Thank you. It is a very good conference. Since COVID, this is, what did we decide, the 2nd year they're back to live, and Tammy and I went 8 years ago to Denver in 16. There were 16,000 people there. This year there were 12,000 people, so it's slowly going to be coming back up. I have a feeling next year in San Antonio we'll be back to that 16 plus. So for me it's a great conference, a lot of new ideas. I got a bag full of flyers and documentation that we got to go through and see what we can try to implement here. The cool stuff this year is AI. Everybody's, we were the same way. We love it and we're scared of it at the same time. So we got a little bit more clarification there. They'll probably talk a little bit about that. The more fun is the first timers that get to go there, because it's a lot. And then we looked at, and I'm gonna throw this out there. It's nothing that's for sure, but esports. It's something I believe we're gonna have to start looking at to help our students. A lot of esports stuff out there right now, so we've got information that we can start the process of kind of that ground up. Where do we start? What do we do? And that's what I've got, so.
Okay. So again, piggybacking off of him, thank you guys very much. Even though I've been before, big difference from 8 years ago. 8 years ago, we were talking about all the new Google stuff, Apple, and so completely flip-flop as far as with the AI. I know a lot of people are scared with the AI. I had a lot of great presenters. To piggyback off of him, they also had a session, or you had 12,000 live, but they also had about 4,000 that were online watching and participating. There were over 1,000 sessions that we could attend, and so I got to go to quite a few different sessions. But one of the presenters made the comment, think about your phone, Siri, Alexa, that's all AI. And so we should not be scared. One of the presenters said, those of you that are legendary, not seasoned, but legendary, they go, what is Ask Jeeves? One of the very first things that we ever did when we searched the internet was Ask Jeeves. Think about it, it's the same way, but just at the next level. So with that, a lot of new stuff, a lot of stuff that we're gonna have to filter through, but that is where we need to be and getting ready for that as far as keeping up with technology, knowing what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and all of them said, don't say you can't do this, but use it to do it this way, show the positives of it. So that was really cool. The other cool thing, IPVO is a company that we have for all of our document cameras, and so we first, Alex was the sales rep that we met in Denver 8 years ago. We went to IPVO, and Alex was there again, and I just told him, I'm like, it's kind of exciting to know that you met a vendor and they're still there 8 years later, because a lot of times those same people are not going to be there. And so had some new things that that he shared with us. There were probably 800-900 businesses there at least. Vendors in the expo hall that had a little bit of everything, wanting to try out, see, do, and so that was exciting to see. Not only the new stuff that's coming, but also he got to meet with reps, people he's never seen before, but just talked to, and that little bit of one-on-one, they're like, oh, hey, we know you. One of them, afterwards I found out they already got socks, but Lightspeed, and they're like, have you heard of Lightspeed? I'm like, yeah, so it's the amplifier, and I've used it in my class for when I lose my voice, and it's called the Red Cap. And he goes, well, what about this? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on my second one. And he's like, oh, so they had me do a little spiel on it.
Through one already.
So anyhow, it was nice to meet those people that are, behind the products that we have, or getting that inside connection, maybe not even an inside connection, but a contact. So that way, hey, this isn't working, give me a call, I'll help you out. So that part was awesome too, as far as building those connections.
My turn? Okay. So thank you as well. I'll say it a third time. He's not wrong when he says it's a lot. I walked into the conference center and saw all the people and was immediately overwhelmed. 10,000 other people around you is kind of crazy. But I really like the AI stuff. I know it is kind of intimidating and scary, but one of the main stage speakers that we listened to, she wrote an article that was titled "Stop Asking Kids What They Want to Be When They Grow Up." And the reason she wrote it is because kids in school today, we don't know what their jobs look like in the future because of what AI can do and what it will do. So some of the stuff she had talked about that I thought was really cool. She said people in the science fields are actually using AI right now to decipher animal languages. So they're actually like understanding what animals are saying and speaking with animals. Elephants were the big example that she used. At birth, we've learned that elephants actually name each other, and so when they speak, they're talking to each other by name, which is, I think, really cool. Again, it's kind of scary to think that we could be talking to animals in the future, but going back to her saying jobs might be totally different than they are now. A veterinarian, for example, could be speaking to the client that they're working on, and I think that's sci-fi, mind-blowing, crazy stuff. But she made it sound like it's a very real future that we could be living in. And she said, like, doctors, for example, are taking gene manipulation. They're pulling gene pools or whatever out of babies or fetuses, whatever they are. I can't remember exactly what she said. They're finding one specific gene that's linked to, like, cancer. They can actually edit that with AI, plug it back in, and that individual's risk for cancer has just dramatically dropped because of what they've done with science, which I think is, again, it's just absolutely crazy. I didn't get to go to as many sessions like Tammy did. The few that I tried to get into filled up so fast that they kicked me out at the door and said, sorry, we're full. So I spent most of my time in the expo hall. Sitting through demonstrations, demos, things like that. Power School was there. I mean, I'm the Power School guy here, so it was cool to sit through some demos with them and kind of see they have pieces that kind of do other things we have do, and I think it'd be cool if we could centralize it all and kind of get it all into Power School. So Mr. Crowdis and I, we kind of talked about it today. We might do some demos and look into some of that stuff. But it was a really fun time. I mean, it was crazy and it was fast paced and there was a lot going on, but I had a lot of fun, and just the future looks crazy and I'm excited for it. So that's pretty much what I have.
Again, thank you for letting us go. Kind of like Jordan was saying, first time going, I was overwhelmed walking into the convention center. I didn't get into many sessions, but I did go to the expo hall. And some of the demos that we saw were AI driven and VR driven. I really liked the VR because for me, I'm more of a visual learner. And I think of these kids with the VR headset, they have a remote control. And the demonstration I did, you could essentially hold a heart and use the control and go through it and see how it works. You can dissect it. You can do so many different things without leaving your classroom. And I thought, you know, maybe that's something we could look at implementing for visual learners. And then you can go history. You can actually go into history and see what it was like. So I was like, you know, that's something that intrigued me. And then there was another company called Merlin, which is AI driven, and it's a device you can plug into your panel, and it's a remote control. You can keep lecturing and use the remote control, and it controls your smartboard.
Like to scroll up or scroll down,
Scroll
move to the
down, you
next
can-
slide.
Pull up
There's more than
this
that.
doc,
Oh, yeah, but
this document, pulls it up, you can continue teaching, and you can still control the classroom. So it gives teachers freedom without kids being ornery. You have to go over there and, oh no, now I gotta go over here and scroll or change screens. You can do it from the remote. And it wasn't costly that I thought, but it's just another avenue for AI that I feel like teachers would utilize, and it's not, oh my gosh, it's this big scary thing. It's, hey Siri, you know? So it's just very eye-opening. There's a lot of tech out there that we use every day that we don't realize, and it's labeled, and it's scary, but once you actually break it down, you're like, we've been using this for years. So it was cool. It was very interesting, and I would recommend going to ISTE to a lot of people. So
something I want to piggyback off what he said when the sessions were closed. The convention center is ginormous. We figured it's about 2 blocks wide and about 3 blocks long. Like it's all enclosed. You never leave.
And 3 levels.
And 3 levels. So there's lots of sessions, but because of so many people in there, they actually have somebody who scanned their badge. And once it was full, once they reached that 100 or whatever capacity for that room, they said no more could come in. So we didn't, or I didn't on some of mine, but some people were staying in line for at least an hour because they wanted to make sure they got into that session.
Okay. To end this, just to let you know, next year, San Antonio again. We will probably ask to go again. What we do, our tech committee is made up of, for those that don't know, we have a tech committee. I've got a couple teachers from each building represent their building. We offer it to everybody there. This year it just happened to be that my family went plus tea time. So we're missing one. Jordan's wife Emily was with us, but she's not feeling good today. So we'd had 2 teachers, a PowerSchool admin, 2 tech people there, and there's something for everybody. I would highly recommend if a board member wants to go check it out. They have board member stuff. I mean, and sometimes the sessions aren't always what you go to. Just walk that expo hall. I mean, we walked it 2 days. I walked it the first day, and I walked it the second day and saw things the second day I didn't think I saw the first day. So it's just amazing. So I really do appreciate that you allow us to go to this. It is a phenomenal conference, and I recommend anybody to go to it if they get a chance. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Now
guys.
I'll go back to
Superintendent's report.
Well, if you want to direct your attention to the screen, I've got a few pictures for a couple things. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks, guys.
We've got our 4-H group that that had a great time selling snack mixes all day long. Really appreciated the work that they did. They were quite the salespeople. They would wagon up and head out all over the activities center. So if you're not aware, June 10th, literally for 24 hours from 10 a.m. to approximately 10 a.m. on June 11th, Bike Across Kansas was at the activities center. And so I just walked around, took a few pictures. Literally there were bicycles or tents everywhere if there was grass. This is the front of the activity center. We had people out in front. I spent most of the day in the back. You know, just kind of milling around, getting to know people, you know, just kind of learning about Bike Across Kansas. Had a couple even say, hey, can we camp out in the knolls out in the parking lot? I was like, yeah, if there's grass, it doesn't matter to me. You guys have to sleep there. So that's the most used I've seen that bike rack since I've been here 4 years. But then, you know, this is the back. This would be like where Vicky typically parks, and then that back driveway. They were all along that driveway to the very south before Jason cut his field, all in the grass, and then out towards the back football field. And I've got a couple other pictures, and this is, you know, back towards the middle area. We did keep the middle area clear because we did have a band coming in, and then this was our gym floor. So imagine the high school gym, so like the normal size high school gym, all of those people then have to fit into a gym the size of our high school gym whenever they were at Frankfurt a few days later. So they had lots of space to stretch out, and then we had people all the way around the activity center walking trail as well. So pretty neat. I had to take a picture of this one. There were about 15 of these big long black cords sitting around, and they would just plug in and then plug in all their devices, phones, GPS devices that they carried on their bikes to get charged up for the next day. We didn't have as many RVers as I thought we were going to, but every single slot was full. Then there was an actual Alpaca is a company, and it's door-to-door service. They take bags, they set up the tent, they tear down the tent. They have some amenities for the bikers as they're going along, and then you can see the tents in the background there. I know it's not a great picture, it's from my phone, but kind of shows everything that they had. And then we had Homebrew come in for a 2-hour set, and everybody seemed to enjoy that. We had our food vendors out there. We had Brand 17. You know, he went ahead and was there lunch and dinner, totally sold out for dinner. Cajun Connection came in for just the afternoon for the evening meal, sold out of all of his food. We had Michelle Mosier with a alcohol-free beer. We had the what is Shelby's
Paradise.
Frozen Paradise. I want to make sure I get the name right. Frozen Paradise was there, so sold over 200 different ones. We had Kennan's were there selling their desserts, so had a great atmosphere there at the activity center. We also provided a shuttle all around town, so bikers, if they didn't want to get back on their bike, and our people were busy with 3 buses running from about 1 until 7, and they were busy the entire time. And I think actually, there were 2 that were running from about 5 to 7. And I know Diane got a couple of phone calls after she had gone home. So they really appreciated that. That was something that they hadn't seen hardly anywhere else. We had tables set up all down the sidewalks, great atmosphere to be able to just sit and hang out, listen to the music, and the weather turned out beautiful. We couldn't have asked for a better day for it. So, just a token of their appreciation for us hosting. We did get this medallion. Each of the hosts did get that front and back. So it's probably one of the funnest days that I've had in a long time. So, but I just want to give you guys a heads up on that and how that day went. We've had nothing but positive experiences from that and positive feedback. And then the new bus, we do have it marked and ready to go out on the road. We did receive the title. We'll go ahead and get it inspected, both mechanically as well as I think we're going to need a title inspection before we get it tagged. But mechanically, and then we'll have the highway patrolmen come out and actually do the final inspections on that to get it out on the road for us. And then to finish up my report, just a few updates on a few things. Just a reminder, I'm just saying this out loud, I know it's been posted on social media. Monday, July 1st, today through Sunday, July 7th is the summer moratorium. And that's designed to help kids rest. So no weights, no practices, no summer league games, no individual workouts, no 7-on-7 football, and no use of school facilities. So I guess where it gets a little hairy is that the activity center is a school facility. And so it kind of muddies the water to have kids participate and use the activity center during the moratorium. So we just want to be real careful about that. Not that Keisha is just going to show up on our doorstep, but we want to make sure that everybody's aware, that is, we do want our kids to rest during this time frame for this week. Non-resident applications. We have only received 5 non-resident applications. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. I'm not going to give you the individual, the grade levels, just because there were so few. We did not exceed any of our limits on any of the grade levels. So it looks like we're going to go ahead and continue to accept some applications. Now that we have gone outside of the non-resident application window, we can go ahead and take a look at those applications a little more stringently. But the way that we have done it, at least since I've been here, and I know talking with the administrators, they have done it this way as well. We're going to take a look at attendance, behavior, and academic performance. We're gonna take a look at that and make sure that, number one, the students is going to be a success here. We're not wanting to set them up to fail. That's our number one thing. We don't want to take a student and then set them up to fail. So attendance is a major contributing factor to that, as well as their behavior and academic performance. So I will go ahead and reach out and contact those that did follow the process and get the applications turned in a timely manner, and then we'll work through that process of enrollment through our regular enrollment. Any questions so far? So far, projects that we're working on, we are working on the football locker room shower. We've had issues with that. It was painted, and then there was latex paint used, and then there was oil-based paint used, and then it was back and forth, and so we have a mess in there. It's flaked off. It's flaked off ever since before I was here. We're trying to get down to the concrete. Well, we're a month into the summer and we're still pulling paint off. So we're still trying to get to concrete. We may have to just say enough is enough for this year. We'll schedule after football season a sandblaster or try to get down to concrete because it just became more of a project than we thought it was going to be. Our crews are cleaning rooms. I believe they're in Roosevelt at this particular point in time with have they been at the high school yet? No, they didn't. They started at Roosevelt, went to the middle school, and then now they're at Lincoln. So they're continuing to work on that. We also have a crew stripping and waxing floors. Right now they're in the main hallway at the middle school. And then we are looking at what we're going to do with the cafeteria area now that summer lunches are wrapped up for the month of July. The boys spend most of their time mowing. When Bart's Construction gets their trailer out there for trash dump, we are going to clean out some of the areas underneath the old, underneath the bleachers to free up some space. We've got a lot of trash, basically is the best way to put it. So we'll be utilizing their youth in trying to get some of that out. Boys' locker room showers in the activities center. Tyler has gotten a whole bunch of parts that he's going to be replacing and working on trying to make sure that those are not leaking. Anita will start in here tomorrow painting the boardroom, and then last week and the week before she was at Roosevelt office area. Today Tyler and I had an interesting conversation. We have not been on a normal rotation with Otis, the elevator company, since I've been here. So we've spent about the last year trying to get somebody out here on a regular basis to inspect our elevators. The high school elevator is the main one that we're concerned with. If you've ridden that elevator, it does sag a little bit. So we have had it inspected, and we do need to have some work done on it. We're waiting for a quote on that at this particular point in time. But we also have an elevator at the activities center, which is, if anybody has been on the ground floor, if that elevator goes bad, we're gonna have to carry them up those stairs. So we have to be real careful and make sure that that is in good working condition, as well as Lincoln is our other elevator. So we wanna make sure they're all working. Today, we also ended up hearing from Otis. Tyler's developed a good relationship with the rep from Otis. The state is cracking down on inspections as well. They had an incident where a young girl was injured, I think maybe even killed, in an elevator accident. And so for the time being, we will need to have an Otis rep doing the inspection. We will need to have a state inspector here, and then we'll have to have a school representative standing there as well. And I'm sure there'll be paperwork that we'll have to sign off on. But the Otis rep ensured Tyler that he has a good working relationship with the state inspector, and they can coordinate their calendars to be able to come out and do all three of ours all at once, in a timely manner. So we're waiting on Otis to get us that bid to replace that seal at the high school. He did a test on it. It's not like it's a major issue, but it drops 5/8 of an inch in a minute. Okay, so it's not a major issue, but he thinks that it's something that we do need to address, and he has assured us that it is a gasket that we're taking a look at. So we'll be working on that, trying to get that finished up. Just a reminder, the elevator's probably 20 years old since the tornado. So that elevator has some years on it. So we're set up and ready to go through our KSB annual required trainings. I worked with a gentleman last week on getting that might have been yesterday, updating that, not yesterday, last week, and getting that ready. Those are required by KSDE, as well as many of them are required by state statute. Many of them include bloodborne pathogens, information on bullying, FERPA, emergency safety interventions, abuse and endangerment, dyslexia, refresher, homelessness, mandatory reporting, and then suicidal prevention, and that's mandatory that it has to be at least an hour. So those mandatory trainings, many of the districts in the state went to online trainings, because we went from bloodborne pathogens, which we can typically do in about 15 minutes, to about 4. Then the next year it was 6, and then the next year was about 8 hours of training. And so we were taking an entire in-service day to do those trainings. So we ended up moving them to an online platform. We do give all of our teachers professional development points to accomplish those. So, and then typically our classified staff, we give them time during the working day to actually accomplish those. Coming up, we're already starting to think about next school year. August 19th is the first day back. I indicated in our notes that all of you are welcome if you are free that day. We'll start out at the high school and we'll do breakfast. We'll do a little bit more than just breakfast burritos this year to start off with. And then we'll have a keynote, Rod Spangler, CEO of KBS. This is the company that we handle most of our insurances with. He's also a cancer survivor and has done many keynote speakers pretty much all over the United States. I'll also do an annual presentation and highlight some topics that we want to cover for the year. And then the afternoons on the 19th will be building time. That evening, August 19th, is the annual staff barbecue, which we ask that you guys help out with on serving and helping get ready for that. So I would plan on about a 5:30, to kind of help work through that. And the administration does most of the grilling, but you guys are more than welcome to jump out and get on the grill if you want to. August 20th will be a full in-service day. So far, what we are going to do is kind of breakout sessions. We'll have several sessions that will be breaking out. We've got restorative practices in the classroom. That's part of our resilience training. Literacy and reading best practices, pre-K through 12. We've got one session on artificial intelligence, which you've already heard, and how the applications in the classroom and teachers, and then team building activities, and then I've reached out to a couple others to see if they want to present. So far, that's all I have for my report. Any questions on anything?
Move on to C, legislative report.
Just a real quick legislative report. Special session for the legislature. They stayed on track, focused on the tax cut bill, which is the reason that they had to have a special session. Their main effect that will affect schools and our constituents as a whole is that there's an exception for the general fund. And if you own your house, the exception has been, or it was raised to $40,000. So the first $40,000 of your home's value does not calculate towards the general fund calculations in terms of taxation. They increased that to $100,000. So from $40,000 to $100,000. So the county clerks had to recalculate all of the things that we were going to be getting. So you should see a little bit of relief on that in terms of that segment of the taxing entity, which calculates out to about 20 mils. Well, it does because that's what the state statute says. But also remember, please vote. Whenever the general elections, we are going to have a primary for our senator. That will be coming up very soon. I believe we will not have a primary for our state representative. We are only represented by one state representative because of the reallocation of the districts. But there will be a primary for our Senate seat. And so just keep in mind, as you get prepared to vote for that, it's nice to have those tax cuts because every single senator and every single House of Representative will be elected this year. So they were really gunning to make sure we get some tax cuts. So sorry, I'll get off my soapbox at this point in time.
Okay, item D, any board member reports? Anybody got anything?
I would just say thank you. The Bike Across Kansas was a tremendous event, getting to get out there, and every single person that we talked to was extremely complimentary of the quality of our facility. The availability of hot water was a big one,
Yep.
and the showers. And just everyone was incredibly complimentary about how great of a host we were. So, thanks to everyone in the community that came together to put that event on.
Yeah.
All right, move on to item 10, consideration of district personnel. How long do you think we're gonna need for the first one?
Do you think you want to say 30 minutes, and if we need more, we can do more?
Yeah, that's fine. I move we go into executive session for 30 minutes pursuant to discussing non-elected personnel under the KOMA exception for the purpose of discussing nominations and resignations with Mr. Crowdis present. The open meeting will resume in the boardroom at, we'll just say 8:15.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Passes 6-0.
And if we have questions about this one, Mr. Mason is available.
Okay, yeah.
Just a little darker.
Okay, so you get to bring everybody up. Okay, are we ready? All right, coming back out of executive session with the following nominations. Do it now.
Yeah.
I move to accept the nomination of Casey Mooney for the position of high school math as presented.
Do you wanna have her do that as a long-term substitute?
That's how I have it in here.
Okay,
Okay, so
yeah,
move to accept the nomination of Casey Mooney for the position of long-term
substitute for the
math
high school.
position.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Second.
Any questions? Seconded by Neil, all in favor? Opposed? Passes 5.
Yep.
I move to accept the nomination of Riley Peterson for the position of Lincoln aide as presented.
Second.
Then moved and seconded, all in favor? I move to accept the nomination of Duke Turner for the position of middle school boys head wrestling as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? 6-0. And I move to accept the nomination of Miranda Garner for the position of middle school assistant track and field as presented.
Second.
Then moved and seconded, all in favor? Passes 6-0. All right, I move we go into executive session for 20 minutes pursuant to discuss the exception for employer-employee negotiations under KOMA, to discuss negotiations training and negotiations letter information with Mr. Crowdis. The open meeting will resume at 8:40. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Passes 6-0. You get all that? All right.
All right, thank
No
you.
resignations then?
No, we didn't have any of those tonight, thank goodness. Thank you, Joel.
No, thank you.